Have you ever noticed how a small ache in your knee or a dull stiffness in your fingers can quietly begin to shape your entire day? What once felt like a simple annoyance now decides whether you go for a morning walk, meet friends for lunch, or simply choose to stay home and rest. The truth is, joint pain has a way of stealing little freedoms one at a time. But what if I told you that tucked away in your kitchen cabinet might be a few simple, everyday spices with the power to bring real relief, without the side effects of pills, without complicated regimens, and without empty promises? I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today, I want to share with you three remarkable spices that science and tradition both celebrate for their ability to ease inflammation, soothe stiff joints, and help you reclaim movement again. For millions of people over 50, joint pain has become a constant companion. The swelling, the stiffness, the unpredictable aches in the knees, hips, or hands. It can feel like the body is slowly turning against itself. Painkillers may provide short-term relief, but they often come with side effects that trade one problem for another, leaving many feeling trapped. The truth is, arthritis and chronic inflammation are not just about discomfort. They quietly erode independence and joy. That's why finding safe, natural, and accessible alternatives matters so deeply. Because the goal is not just less pain, but more life. When most people think of cinnamon, they picture the sweetness of apple pie, the warmth of a holiday kitchen, or the comforting aroma drifting from a cup of chai. But hidden within that familiar brown powder lies a surprising ally for anyone struggling with arthritis pain relief. This spice, treasured for thousands of years, isn't just about flavor. It carries compounds that calm inflammation, ease stiffness, and even support blood flow in a way that brings true joint pain relief. I remember one of my patients, Margaret, a retired teacher in her early 70s. She had lived with aching fingers for years. Writing birthday cards to her grandchildren, something she once loved, became painful. She confessed she dreaded mornings when her hands felt swollen and stiff. We had tried the usual medications, but she wanted something gentler, something that wouldn't leave her worrying about long-term side effects. When we introduced cinnamon into her daily routine, not as a pill but sprinkled naturally into her oatmeal and tea, she noticed within weeks that mornings weren't as daunting. Her hands felt less swollen, and she had more confidence to return to her beloved letter writing. What makes cinnamon so powerful? The secret lies in a compound called cinnamaldehyde. It's what gives cinnamon its warm fragrance, but it also acts as a natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Think of inflammation like a smoldering fire inside your joints. It doesn't always roar, but it constantly damages tissues, making movement painful. Cinnamaldehyde works a bit like pouring water on those flames, cooling them down before they spread. And antioxidants, which cinnamon has in abundance, act as the cleanup crew, sweeping away harmful particles, free radicals, that worsen joint damage over time. Science has begun to catch up with what ancient traditions knew. A clinical trial published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition found that people with rheumatoid arthritis who consumed cinnamon daily reported less joint pain and swelling compared to those who didn't. That's remarkable considering it came not from a synthetic drug, but from a spice many of us already have at home. But cinnamon doesn't stop at calming inflammation. It also supports blood circulation, ensuring oxygen and nutrients reach our joints, almost like oil keeping the hinges of a door moving smoothly. Good circulation means not only better healing, but also a faster removal of toxins that might otherwise linger and irritate the joints. And there's more. Cinnamon plays a surprising role in balancing blood sugar levels. At first glance, that may seem unrelated to joint health, but high blood sugar fuels inflammation. By keeping it steady, cinnamon indirectly reduces yet another hidden spark of joint discomfort. Now, the beauty of cinnamon lies in how easy and enjoyable it is to use. You don't need to force down bitter concoctions or swallow large capsules. A sprinkle on your morning oatmeal with berries creates not only a nourishing breakfast, but also a daily anti-inflammatory ritual. Blending it into a smoothie with bananas and almond milk turns health into pleasure. On colder mornings, simmering a cinnamon stick in water with a touch of honey produces a soothing tea that warms both body and spirit. I've even recommended roasting carrots or sweet potatoes with a dusting of cinnamon. The natural sweetness of the vegetables pairs beautifully with the spice, making healthy eating delightful. But before you start emptying your spice jar, there's one important distinction. Not all cinnamon is created equal. Most supermarket cinnamon is cassia cinnamon, which contains a compound called coumarin. In large amounts, coumarin can stress the liver. For occasional use, cassia is fine. But if you're planning to make cinnamon part of your daily life, I recommend seeking out Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon. It has a gentler flavor and far lower levels of coumarin, making it safer for regular use. You can often find it in health food stores or order it online. So how much is enough? Around half a teaspoon to a teaspoon per day is a good place to start. What matters most isn't a large dose all at once, but the gentle consistency of daily use. Healing often comes not from dramatic actions, but from small, repeated choices. For Margaret, adding cinnamon became less about medicine and more about ritual. Each morning, she stirred it into her breakfast, reminding herself that healing could taste good. It wasn't a cure, but it gave her back comfort, confidence, and a sense of control. That's the essence of natural medicine. Not harsh interventions, but gentle, steady steps that add up to real change. Cinnamon is proof that sometimes the answer doesn't come from a pharmacy, but from the warmth of your own kitchen. Cloves may not look like much. Tiny dark brown buds often tucked away in the back of the spice cabinet, brought out only for holiday baking or mulled cider. But behind their modest appearance lies an extraordinary strength. In fact, cloves carry more antioxidant power than almost any other spice on earth. And for those struggling with arthritis pain relief, they can feel like a hidden treasure waiting to be rediscovered. I'll never forget Samuel, a former carpenter in his late 60s who came to see me. His hands, once strong and precise, had grown stiff from years of hard work and arthritis. He told me that even buttoning his shirt or gripping a mug of coffee felt like a battle. Painkillers dulled the ache, but they also left him groggy. What Samuel missed most wasn't just his comfort, it was his independence, that sense of dignity in being able to care for himself. When we explored natural remedies, I suggested he try cloves, not as a magic bullet, but as a daily companion. He was skeptical. Cloves? Those things you stick in a ham at Christmas? But he agreed. He began brewing clove tea in the evenings, sometimes adding a slice of lemon and a bit of honey. After several weeks, Samuel admitted something had shifted. His mornings felt easier, his fingers less swollen, and while his pain wasn't gone, it was no longer the constant shadow it once had been. That small shift gave him confidence. He felt he could still shape his days instead of letting his joints dictate them. So what gives cloves this surprising power? The star compound is eugenol. It's what gives cloves their distinctive warm scent, but it's also a natural anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and mild pain reliever. Imagine eugenol as a triple-action guardian, calming the inflammatory flames inside the joints, sweeping away harmful free radicals, and gently dulling the edge of pain. Inflammation in arthritis often follows a familiar pathway. The body produces enzymes like COX-2, which spark swelling and pain. Medications like ibuprofen work by blocking these enzymes. Amazingly, eugenol in cloves does something similar, but in a gentler, natural way. Instead of overwhelming the system, it works quietly, like turning down the volume on a radio. Cloves also stand out for their astonishing antioxidant content. On the ORAC scale, a measure of antioxidant capacity, cloves score higher than blueberries, higher than pomegranates, higher than most foods we think of as super. For joints under constant assault from oxidative stress, this is like sending in an army of bodyguards to shield the delicate cartilage from damage. In fact, some studies have suggested that compounds in cloves may even slow cartilage breakdown in arthritis, protecting the very tissue that allows us to move with ease. Now, how do you bring cloves into everyday life? The simplest way is tea. Just drop a few whole cloves into boiling water, let them simmer for 10 or 15 minutes, and enjoy the warm, slightly spicy infusion. Adding a little honey or ginger not only enhances the flavor, but also adds extra anti-inflammatory support. Ground cloves are another option, though a little goes a long way. You can sprinkle a pinch into your morning oatmeal, blend it into a smoothie, or stir it into a curry or stew. The flavor is bold, but in small amounts it adds depth without overpowering. One of my favorite recommendations is golden milk with a twist. Warm, plant-based milk blended with turmeric, ginger, black pepper, and just a touch of ground cloves. This drink doesn't just comfort, it actively nourishes your joints with a powerful combination of anti-inflammatory compounds. For those who enjoy experimenting, cloves can even be infused in olive oil, along with other joint-friendly spices. A drizzle over roasted vegetables or salads transforms an ordinary dish into both a culinary and medicinal experience. A word of caution, though. Cloves are potent because of their high eugenol content. Large amounts, especially in supplement or oil form, can be too strong. Used as a spice in small culinary doses, they are perfectly safe and effective. For topical use, clove oil must always be diluted in a carrier oil like almond or coconut before being massaged onto sore joints. Even inhaling the scent of clove essential oil has been shown to bring comfort to some people, its warming aroma acting as both physical and emotional support. For Samuel, cloves became a symbol of possibility. He didn't need to give up the little joys of his day, his morning mug of coffee, his evening walks, his independence. That's the promise cloves offer, not a cure, but a steady natural companion that helps restore dignity, comfort, and confidence. So while they may sit quietly on your spice rack, overlooked until the holidays, cloves hold a strength that can change the way you live with arthritis pain. Sometimes healing comes not from something exotic or expensive, but from the small, powerful gifts already waiting in your kitchen. Black pepper, the most ordinary of seasonings, so common that most of us barely notice when we twist the grinder over a plate of food. Yet hidden inside those tiny black granules is a power few people realize, a power that can ease joint pain, calm inflammation, and even unlock the healing potential of other spices. What seems ordinary is, in truth, extraordinary. I once worked with Elaine, a 65-year-old grandmother who had been dealing with knee arthritis for more than a decade. She had already tried turmeric capsules after hearing friends rave about their benefits, but after months she told me, "Dr. Brian, I think it's just yellow dust. It hasn't done a thing." When I asked if she ever combined her turmeric with black pepper, she shook her head. That simple detail changed everything. I explained that black pepper contains piperine, a compound that not only reduces inflammation on its own, but also helps the body absorb curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, up to 2,000% better. Elaine was stunned. She had the missing piece of the puzzle sitting right there in her spice rack all along. The magic of piperine lies in its dual role. First, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. Think of the pain in your joints as a traffic jam caused by too many inflammatory signals rushing in all at once. Piperine acts like a skillful traffic officer, slowing down those signals, reducing the congestion, and allowing movement to flow again with less stiffness and swelling. Studies have shown that piperine blocks enzymes like COX2 and cytokines, the same inflammatory culprits targeted by common pain medications. But unlike those medications, black pepper comes without the risk of stomach irritation or long-term side effects when used in normal culinary amounts. Second, piperine is a potent antioxidant. Every day, our bodies are bombarded by free radicals, unstable molecules from pollution, stress, or even normal aging. They attack our cells, wearing down cartilage and accelerating the joint damage seen in arthritis. Piperine helps neutralize these free radicals, protecting the delicate tissue that cushions our joints. It's like reinforcing the padding in your shoes. With the right support, every step becomes easier. But what truly sets black pepper apart is its role as a helper. Curcumin from turmeric has gained fame for its joint pain relief, yet the body struggles to absorb it. Most of it simply passes through the digestive system unused. Piperine acts like a key, unlocking the doors so curcumin can enter the bloodstream and get to work. That's why traditional remedies like golden milk almost always combine turmeric with black pepper. Nature designed them to work together, a reminder that healing often comes from harmony rather than isolation. Elaine began adding freshly ground black pepper, not just to her turmeric tea, but to her daily meals, on eggs in the morning, in soups at lunch, sprinkled over roasted vegetables at dinner. Within 2 months, she told me, "My knees don't ache like they used to. I can climb the stairs without pausing halfway. For her, black pepper wasn't just seasoning anymore. It was empowerment, a daily act of caring for herself. If you want to explore the same path, start simple. Switch from pre-ground pepper in shakers to a small grinder with whole peppercorns. Freshly ground pepper holds more piperine, and its flavor is brighter and more complex. Sprinkle it over salads, fold it into dressings, stir it into lentil stews, or add it to teas. Combine it with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, which help the body absorb nutrients more effectively. Even a pinch added to warm milk with turmeric can become a nightly ritual that comforts body and soul. A gentle word of caution: piperine can affect how the body metabolizes certain medications. For most people, using pepper in normal culinary amounts is perfectly safe. But if you're taking long-term prescriptions, it's wise to check in with your healthcare provider. Black pepper reminds us of something essential. Healing doesn't always come from exotic herbs or costly supplements. Sometimes the most powerful medicine is hiding in plain sight in something we've overlooked because it seemed too ordinary. But every twist of the grinder is more than flavor. It's a step toward less stiffness, more freedom, and the return of movement that feels natural and joyful again. So as we've seen, sometimes the answers we search for aren't locked away in a pharmacy. They're waiting quietly in our own kitchens. Cinnamon with its gentle touch on blood sugar and inflammation, cloves with their mighty antioxidants protecting cartilage, and black pepper with its hidden strength and powerful partnership with turmeric. All three are simple, natural allies. The message I want you to carry is this: you are not powerless. Even small, steady choices can restore comfort and confidence. Healing begins not in grand gestures, but in daily habits. And that, my friends, is the true gift of these spices.